over to webcam, which is something I haven't used in years. So let's just get to the point. Let's get to the point. First of all, let me shut this door or go outside. I think I'll go outside and get some beautiful fresh air. So let me explain this to you. I am watching people on the internet unable to hire men in the Philippines. And the reason for the inability for them to hire a proper man to do a proper job is because they themselves don't know how to do the job. They don't know what the telltale signs are to know if the men that they're hiring can do the job itself. And they don't understand that most of the people in the Philippines that call themselves construction workers are just labor, which is different than construction men or carpenters or tradesmen. 97% of all the men in the Philippines are nothing more than labor that have watched someone else do a job, and then when you ask them if they can do a job, they say yes because of course they want to work, but they don't actually know the intricacies of how to do the job itself. Now, I have been a licensed contractor in America for 38 years. I had a license. I never had a blemish on my license or on any business I ever had. Never had anyone filed a complaint against me. Never had anybody been hurt on my job that wasn't sent immediately to the hospital under workman's compensation and taken care of. Never did anybody get hurt, and I paid them off the books to not say it. Good morning, Jim. Yes, and that's because he keeps mentioning my name. I don't want to sound like Fazio. Well, if you don't want to sound like Fazio, it's because you can't sound like Fazio. Because you don't have Fazio's knowledge in construction. And this gentleman keeps hiring people, and when he hires them, he says they're the best workers in the world. These are good guys. I got good guys. And then 3 days later, these guys don't know what they're doing. They messed up my tile. Had he asked me, I would have been more than happy to tell him when I saw them ripping up the tile in his house that those guys don't know what they're doing. You don't rip up the tile in the house and leave the debris on the floor and work on top of the debris. But that's all besides the point. The problem stems from you people that come to the Philippines and you don't know anything about construction, and you believe, this is the problem, you believe that because a Filipino man says he can do a job, you believe he can do the job. The truth is, they can't. 99% of everybody in the Philippines that tells you that they can do the job, they'll get the job done, no doubt about it. At the end of the day, the job will get finished. That's how all these buildings got finished. But they don't know how to do the job in a professional manner. Case in point, the men ripping up the tile in his house were using a small chisel and a hammer. The thumbnail of my video today is a 3.5-inch wide chisel with a 6-foot tang or blunt end on the side of it, 6 foot of pipe with a blunt end on the end of it that you hit with a sledgehammer, and that's called a ripping tool, R-I-P-P-I-N-G, ripping tool. So, did the men have one of those? No. Did they need one? Yes. For ripping up tile, one man holds the bar, another man hits it with a sledgehammer, and it rips up a 3-inch swath of tile. Then you get a foot or so of tile across from wall to wall, and then you have a guy with a broom and a shovel. He puts it in a box, and they take it to wherever they're supposed to take it. Apparently, they just dumped it in his yard. Well, that's because he wasn't there watching them. You want to hire somebody in the Philippines, you need to watch them. This is one of the most important aspects of hiring people in the Philippines. I can go through one example after another, and I will. I'm going to spend 35 or 40 minutes doing this. But you people think that you're going to come to the Philippines and hire men that know what they're doing. They don't. They will say they know what they're doing, and they might get the job done at the end of the day, but it's not going to be in a professional manner. Case in point, he hired people to rip up the floor, and as they were ripping up the floor, he was blogging instead of watching the men. Then they took the tile and they dumped it outside in his yard. Was there not an agreement where to put the tile debris? Did you not make that agreement in a contract? Did you not write it down in a contractual level? Did you not know that they were going to dump it in your yard? Did you not have 2 minutes to look where they put it when they put it there? That's part of being hiring men in the Philippines. If you don't stay on top of them, they're going to do everything different than you expect. This goes across the board for people in the Philippines. They just built a pool right behind my house, 17 and a half feet wide and 36 feet long. They built the entire pool out of 4-inch block, then wire and rebar on the inside of the 4-inch block. Then they put 2 inches of stucco mud on the inside. Guapo. They put 2 inches of stucco mud on the inside. They put the whole pool together. They had the floor drain in first, but the walls needed six more, I think, 2-inch pipes to go through the walls for the for the strainer basket and the suction for the strainer, and then the discharges, and then circulation. They needed 6 more holes. So they built the entire pool. They put the wire, they put the rebar, they stuccoed it, they smoothed it, they finished it. Then 2 men spent a week punching holes through 7.5 inches of concrete with a hammer and chisel. That's not the way to do it. If you want a pipe at the 4-foot level, the pool is 5 feet deep, and you want a pipe at the 4-foot level, could be a pipe for backflowing in the filter, could be a suction pipe, could be a discharge pipe, could be a bypass pipe, whatever pipe that you want. You take a 3-inch pipe, you put it in the wall before you put the block. You get the block, you put the pipe on top of the block. Now you have a 3-inch pipe, you put the block on this side of the pipe, that side of the pipe, over the top of the pipe, you fill it in with mud. Then later on, when you want to put the pipe through the wall, you just put the pipe through the 3-inch pipe. And you can put cement around it or polyurethane foam. But they did it by stuccoing the whole pool because no one was there to watch them. So they spent 5-6 days, 2 men all day banging with a chisel and a star drill and a handheld a hammer, not a hammer. They had a hammer drill, but they didn't use the hammer drill because the boss wasn't there. Had the boss been there, maybe they would have used the hammer drill, and maybe it would have took 2 days instead of 6 days. But that's not the problem. The problem is when you hire people here in the Philippines, you have to write up a contract. They have to be able to read the contract. They have to be able to agree to that. And then you hire them to do the job. That's not happening here from what I see. I go, I don't want to be like Fazio. Fazio knows more about construction than any 10 men in the Philippines. That's the truth. That's the truth. The truth is that Fazio's been doing construction kitchens, bathrooms, finished basements, pool jobs, jacuzzi jobs, excavation, tree service, running backhoes, track hoes, bobcats, drill rigs, cranes, and trenching machines, chainsaws, and so on and so forth for 38 years. And you people want to come along and hire people that you can't speak their language. You believe that they can do the job because they said they can do the job. You don't sit over them like a mother hen and watch them to make sure they do the job properly. And then when they don't do the job properly, you come on and complain that they didn't do the job properly. That's your fault that they didn't do the job properly. Now, I've heard people say, well, I can't wait to see Fazio hire men. Yes, the truth is it's going to be difficult to hire men. The truth is that every Filipino that you talk to knows how to do everything. And they'll get the job done eventually. But when the guys who built the pool did a beautiful job, but then they spent 6 days punching holes through the pool, when all they had to do was use 6 feet of 3-inch pipe. And then when they want to put the pipe through the wall, they just take a rag out of the pipe, put the pipe through the wall, and cement it. Talking about an hour's work as opposed to 6 men for 2 days, 8 hours a day in the sun, 16 hours a day times 6, 96 hours of wasted labor. The fella that ripped up the tile, took him days to do the tile, rip up the tile. It took him, he was banging and they were making a mess, and apparently they dragged it all over the floor. They should have had that room sealed off with plastic and cardboard on the walls, which at the end of the day, there was cardboard on the walls. But that should have been the primary thing. Come in, cordon off the room, keep the dust to a minimum, fans. But the problem is no one knows how to hire men because they don't know how to do the job, and they take the men's word for being able to do the job, and it doesn't turn out. And then they all of a sudden, every single person that he hires turns out to be a disaster. Every person, because he doesn't know how to hire people. He does not know how to interview people. And not only that, I interviewed some people for my construction job. The first thing I asked them is, do you have identification? ID. ID. I want to see ID. And if they say no, then the job interview is over. The second thing I ask them is, can you, because we're getting ready, can you get NBI clearance? No, I'm not going to get NBI clearance. That costs a lot of money. It costs $4. But if you don't have NBI clearance, I won't hire you. It's not complicated, because you need NBI clearance in order to give the bank the identification of the men to give them insurance for the job. Insurance is cheap enough, but they have to have an NBI clearance. They can't work in construction without the proper identification. Now, you can hire anybody you want with or without ID, but you can't get them insurance without proper identification and an NBI clearance. And an NBI clearance just assures the bank that the person they're insuring is a legitimate, honest person that's not wanted for any crimes. So if you don't have NBI clearance and you can't get it, the job interview is over. It's over. There's nothing else to talk about. I don't care that you have need of a job. It makes no difference to me. All the tricycle drivers have NBI clearance. All the conductors have NBI clearance. You want to work for me? And a lot of people have been asking me because they know I'm close. You need NBI clearance. And that's the bottom line. But besides the point, here in the Philippines, You have to watch the men. I can give you an example of what went on last week, right there, right there, 25 feet from where I'm sitting. A truck came and dropped off 300 feet of what was once scaffolding, galvanized pipe. And a man came out with a 5-inch die grinder, 4.5-inch die grinder, like handheld die grinder. And he, on his squatting down on his ankles, they sit on their ankles, he spent 7 days knocking the rust off the pipes, squatting down on his ankles. Well, and he had the lumber that they took off the job to replace the pipe. They could have built a 3-foot bench, put the pipe on the bench, and done all of that pipe grinding in 2 days. 7 days, 2 days. Okay, now it comes time that I walk out there and I said to the man, he doesn't work for me, it's for the next door. I said to him, that galvanized steel, that's very poisonous, Makahilo. Okay, it's very bad to breathe in the rust and the galvanized steel dust. Okay, and he kept going. Then it came time for him to do all the welding, put the welding. He welded all of those pipes together, and U-channel, and L-stock, with a pair of $1 sunglasses on. After the owner of the Stanley House bought him a proper set of number 10 shade goggles. So and they flip up goggles like that. So he doesn't want to use the goggles. He wants to use the sunglasses because to go like this, I don't know, it's complicated. Well, he can't work for me. He doesn't want to work for me. I didn't ask him to work for me. After watching him work, I would never even offer him to work. But I did say to the owner of the Stanley House, and he agreed with me, that guy needs goggles. He went straight to the store and bought the goggles. I did say about the poisonous smoke that comes off the galvanized steel. He said, I told him in his language. He doesn't care. He's been doing it since he was a kid. Well, that's just super dangerous. No goggles the guy was using to grind the pipe. No goggles, no glasses, no nothing. Just grinding steel with no protection at all. That's not the way to go about doing a job. No gloves, nothing. So when you want to hire people in the Philippines, if you don't know how to do the job yourself and you think you're going to get the job done properly, it's a crapshoot. You can't hire people. Yes, it's like when you ask a Filipino or a Filipina, do you speak English? Do you understand English? Yes. All they understand is that you asked if they understand the word English. That's it. Nothing more. Very few can you have a conversation with. A few words they understand, like we understand a few of their words, but to converse with them, it's not possible because they don't have a grasp of the English language. Hey, Jay. Good afternoon. Thank you. They don't have a full grasp of the English language. There are innuendos, there are words that can be used in 3 or 4 different contexts, and they just don't have. So when you hire somebody and the guy comes to work with a 1/2-inch cold chisel and a hammer to rip up a floor, that's the wrong tool for the job. He doesn't know what he's doing. And if you know what to do, then you need to go out and buy him a 3-inch. You need to go out and buy him a 3-inch floor scraper. The hotel was never off. You're out of here, Dave. Nice to have met you. What, so I'm now responsible for the lockdown? Adios. There will be no negative stuff about the hotel, Daisy May, questions of left-handed compliments. Somebody remove Dave Zalinsky or whatever his name is permanently. Thank you. Remove, put user, hide user on this channel. I took care of that. Okay, so there's not going to be one negative comment on my page about whether or not I started the hotel. 2.5 years of a lockdown, and now it's my fault. Don't worry about how long I have left. Don't worry about how much time I have left. Don't worry about what I've been doing. Since I was off YouTube, I did more things than you, any or all of you people combined. And I have 93 videos and 175 hours of videos that I sent out to my personal friends. None of your business what my business is. I am telling you, this video is about hiring people in the Philippines. You want to go off topic? You go off topic on somebody else's channel, mislead them to confuse them because they're confused enough already. How is it possible that every single person that you hire is incompetent? They start out as the best worker. These guys were recommended, they're good. And then 3 days later, you're not going to pay your workers? Did I hear you say you weren't going to pay your workers? Did I hear you say that? You have to pay your workers. They did a job. Whether you like the job or not, you have to pay them. That's the rules. If you don't want to pay them, then you fire them and pay them for the work that they did up until that point. You guys come on my page and you want to sidetrack me into talking about something else, I'm going to block you. I don't care who you are. I don't care nothing about what you think. Whether or not my hotel is this, that's just sidetracking me, and you got blocked forever. Nobody that gets blocked or is blocked will ever be unblocked. I don't make videos for you people indirectly or directly. I make videos to give you information. Today's video is about how to hire Filipinos. Number one, you tell them you come to work. You stand in front of the house tomorrow morning at 5 minutes to 7, and I'll take your information down. If they're not on time, you don't take their information down. You say, thanks for stopping by. Give them 50 pesos for their travel expenses and send them on their way. If they can't show up on time for an interview, there's no reason for them to be there. I watched the men put the pipes together with a plug, a free plug on the end. It just goes on and on forever. Every single job I've watched on YouTube has been done incorrectly. Every job I've watched in real life here has been done incorrectly. I showed you the Korean hotel where they put up a 12-foot wall, a 10-foot high wall on their side, but 12 feet on the neighbor side, when the wall should have been 8 feet from the lowest side. So they put up a wall four feet higher than the law allows from the crown of the street, 4 feet higher. But they had to take the whole wall down, 23 feet of wall, 4 foot high. That's uncalled for. It's on the plans. But they followed through with the wall that was allowed to go 12 feet high after the 28-foot mark from the center of the street. After 28 feet from the crown of the road, then you can go 12 feet if you have a permit to go over 8 feet. There's all kinds of rules here. You're not allowed to put windows in walls that are on the side of a facing property, or even vents. And I've watched people build entire buildings with windows in it, finish it and stucco it. The inspector comes along and says, no, you got to close all those windows up. The building next door, they built 5 rooms. They did concrete walls. The air conditioner's in the plans. How high it is, 6'6" off the floor, 21 inches high, 28 inches wide for a 1-ton unit. I watched them build it. I read the plans. I told the contractor, put a wood frame in there, and so you could concrete and stucco around where the air conditioner goes. He said, yeah, okay. And he built the wall. They just built all the walls in 2 days. And they didn't put a single cutout in the wall. Not one. Nothing. And then when it was all stuccoed, then they spent months. Hey, Hillbilly, hey, I saw your, I haven't been on YouTube. I've been really busy. I have guests, and I have more guests coming, and I've been doing some fun stuff. I saw you lost a pig, and sorry to hear that, because I know that that's an important part of your life. I saw the corn that you got. Corn's a little bit small, but it looked tasty, I'll tell you that. Thanks for stopping by, Hillbilly. I didn't see your last video, though. And I watched, so they built 5 rooms on the 3rd floor, and 5 rooms on the 3rd floor. I told them that there's an air con there. Look, that's on the plan. I was there. I was living there when, yeah, okay. And they spent a month, more than a month, chiseling out those walls, because in each wall there was like 2 rebar in each hole, vertical, and then there was wire in between every other layer of block, and all the tile was down on the inside. The kitchens were installed, the bathrooms were installed, the furniture. Buntag, guapo, nice, opao. The bathrooms were installed, the kitchens were installed, the beds were in place, and they just cut the wall with a chisel and a hammer. They just spent days pounding on the wall, making dust. They didn't cover the bed. They didn't put a visqueen between the bedroom and the kitchen. They didn't close the bathroom door necessarily. And they made a mess. You have to stay on top of the people that you hire. I'm a working boss. I work on the job with the men. I control the job. I control it, not them. I've had people come here and do bid work. They want to bid something out. I said, look, a licensed, certified, insured, bona fide contractor came last week. He approached me. As a matter of fact, the man that just went by, it's his cousin. He said, I'd like to bid on your job. I said, okay, so what kind of, okay, here, there was a bench. It was a bench. I was sitting next to a table. I said to him, if you were going to cut the 24-inch pieces of 2x3 for that bench, how would you do it? And he said, we cut with a saw, a hand saw. I said, okay, how many pieces of wood can one man cut in 1 hour? So he was very honest. He said maybe 6. Because you get tired, your arm gets tired. You can't just continually cut with a handsaw. These are not, 6-foot lumberjacks. They're just, regular sized people. So I said, well, how would you, if you wanted to rip a 12-inch piece of plywood down. So he can cut 6 pieces an hour, one man. Because they're gonna use their knee to cut on, their knee. They're not gonna build a bench. They don't build benches here. I build benches. They don't build benches. I says, okay, so if you were gonna rip a sheet of plywood down 12 inches and I wanted to cut 4 11 3/4 inch pieces out of a piece of plywood, or 11 7/8, how would you do that? With a handsaw. Show me some pictures of your job. Show me how does nice work. At the end of the day, the job comes out beautiful. He showed me the men cutting a piece of plywood. They were using like a 18-inch high box, a box, one box. One man held the plywood, and one man cut it with a handsaw. So that would, how long would it take to cut? How long would it take to cut that? Maybe 20 minutes with a handsaw. I says, I can cut 11 and 7/8 boards. In 1 hour, I can cut 30 pieces. My way, with a skill saw, 30 pieces. 30. And you can cut one in a half an hour. And then by then your arm is shot. So maybe you could cut two in an hour. I can cut 30 perfectly straight pieces. How can you do that? So I told him how I would do it. He said, yes, but we don't use skill saws. I said, well, then how can you work for me? He goes, time and material. I said, your job could take years. The way you want to do it. Years. The way you want to do it. Like 2 or 3 years just to get one floor done. They built a house next door. It took 26 men, came in for 4 months, and it still took a year to do that. Well, actually, they started last July. It's almost done now, the house. Just got finished like 2 weeks ago. 26 men on and off the job every day. Because they work with hand tools. They mixed the cement by hand. They have a cement mixer, but the motor was broke. So they mixed it by hand for a week before anybody knew the motor, before the owner came and said, what's with the cement mixer? No, it doesn't work. So the owner got another cement mixer the same day. They still were mixing it by hand. You got to stay on top of these people. If you can't stay on top of them, and or in the Philippines, they don't want you on the job, well, then they can't do the job. It's not complicated. You people out there, you people are a joke. You're a bad joke that you hire people. You don't know how to do the job. They don't know how to do the job. You think they're doing a good job. Then when you don't get the results that you want, they're bad workers. They're not bad workers. You didn't know how to supervise them. You didn't interview them properly. You didn't say, do you have an NBI clearance? You didn't say, what is your level of expertise? You didn't say, what tools do you have? Do you know that I hired a man to do a job? I said to him, do you have a ruler? No, sir. Do you have a hammer? No, sir. But what is your expertise? I'm a carpenter. Do you have a skill saw? No, sir. I said, I'll tell you what, so you're basically labor. I can do labor. I says, okay, you show up tomorrow morning. This was before Easter. You show up at my house. You show up at my house at 7 o'clock, not even 1 minute after 7. Okay, I will be there. He never showed up. He didn't call, and he didn't text. I was just going to have him help me clean up the yard. That's it. That's all he was going to do. He was going to do labor, just clean up. But he didn't do it because he didn't show up. And I haven't seen him since. And I used to see him every day, but now he doesn't walk by the house anymore. He couldn't even show up for work on the first day on time or show up at all. So I asked him if he had NBI clearance, and he said yes. I said, you bring that tomorrow also. He had no look, if I turn around like that and that fence wasn't behind me, I'd be able to see his house. So now it's 2 weeks. Now it's 2 weeks. I haven't seen him once since Easter Monday, Easter Tuesday, before Easter, not after. I haven't seen him. I used to see him every day. I don't see him anymore. Not only do I not see him, but no one sees him. Because he said he had an NBI clearance, but he didn't, so he can't work anyway. I have to know who is working for me. I have to know that he is not wanted for a crime. Many people have asked me for a job in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Many, many. And I said, do you have NBI clearance? No, then you cannot work for me. Why? Because in case you get hurt, I have to carry insurance for you. I'm not going to get hurt. And I says, no, not on my job, because you're not going to get the job. It's not complicated. It's really not that complicated. You have to have an NBI clearance, and that means you need identification, and you have to go through a fingerprint. They fingerprint you. So this is what it involves to hire somebody. And do you think it's in America? I had to do all of that every time I worked on a construction site. I had to give them my ID, my union card, whatever it was that I had. And then they put you down your social security number, then you're insured, and they check out your background and whatever. But here, none of that exists. You are hiring people that are just telling you they can do a job because they saw somebody else do the job. And case in point, the guys who were breaking up the tile, they were using a 1/2-inch coal chisel and a hammer, not a 3-inch. I have one inside, a 3-inch flat chisel. You hit it with a sledgehammer. One guy holds it up. One guy taps it with an 8 or 10 pound sledgehammer. It pops up 3.5 inches of tile at once. You people you want to hire people, then hire people that know what they're doing, that have a history in your local that you can go ask the previous person, did they do a good job? Now the guy's got scruffed up tile, dust all over his house. Sex Pet Hunter, you are history. And you know why. You'll never come back on my channel. You want to talk behind my back? You're history. I've seen all the stuff that you've left. You people that talk behind my back on other people's channels, you're not coming on my channel. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. That's a different Sex Pet Hunter. I don't care. I'll block them all. I'll block every one of them. I don't do this for your money. You're not putting money in my pocket. You're not doing anything for my AdSense. You're not sending money to my PayPal, and I don't need to PayPal, and I don't need to put up with your worthless rhetoric on other people's channel talking behind my back. Okay? None. The people that you make fun, left-handed compliments, that includes Richie, too. He's history as well. You and the left-handed compliments and being friends with every person on YouTube that talks bad about me. I don't care that you talk bad about me, but nobody's coming on my channel that talks bad about me. I don't care if 4 people. I don't care if 3 people come and watch my videos. I don't care. I never cared, and I'm never going to care. You want to talk smack on somebody else's channel about me, and because it's fun for you to do, I want to know who you are, your name, your address, your telephone number, and your legal name, and I will have somebody confirm that. Then you can come on my channel. But in the meantime, if you want to talk smack, do it on somebody else's channel. You're not coming on my channel. I watch a lot of videos that I don't comment on. I hear my name all the time, Fazio this and Fazio that. That's good that you do that. And every single person that comes on my channel that was talking smack about me, hey, Dennis. Now, Dennis is my friend. Thank you for stopping by, Dennis. You guys want to talk smack about me? Go ahead, do it. Hey, Nanay. Mein Buntag, sweetheart. Okay. Bye-bye. So, you want to talk smack about me? You do that. The other guy wants to talk smack about me. I don't want to sound like Fazio. Well, how can you sound like Fazio? Fazio knows more about construction than any other 10 men on YouTube. That's the truth. Dennis don't never talk smack. Hey, DNC. Now, to prove to you that I have been punching out 2 or 3 videos a day, We'll just take a yes or no answer from Dennis and DNC. Have you guys received multiple videos, just a yes or a no, from me over the course of the last 2 months? And just please answer truthfully. Nobody is ever going to see what I'm doing, where I'm going to doing it, or why I'm doing it. Dennis, DNC says yes. Thank you, DNC. And Dennis says yes. So I got 93 videos and over 175 hours. I got another set that's getting ready to go out, another 14 videos. I got to title them. And I have multiple videos of friends coming and going that don't want to be on YouTube. And then I have more friends coming next week that you people will never know who's coming and who's going. They don't want to be on video. They don't want to hear your nonsensical, worthless commentary day after day after day. Rhetoric, day after day after worthless, completely worthless rhetoric. All you do is go over the same worthless points of non-interest. You got two guys on here fighting for years. Years they're fighting. And they can't get it through their heads that they were both made promises that this was going to take place last year. 2022 was going to be the year. 2022 is going to be the year. We're almost halfway through 2023. I'm not saying it won't happen, but each person says, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. I'm done with this. I'm not going to talk about this guy anymore. And then there are people saying that there are 300 videos. Boston Dave, welcome to the machine. I can't watch Barry's videos. I would watch Barry's videos. I can't understand him. He talks so fast with that heavy accent that I'm the kind of person, when you watch my video, you hear me pronounce every word properly. I speak perfect English. I cannot understand every 15th or 10th or 5th word that Barry says. I know what his concept is, but I can't watch him. I mean, I can't, and the other fella, oh my God. Every time I turn it on, Fazio is responsible for what Batman did. I am not Batman. I am not Batman. I didn't do what Batman did. I can't do what Batman did. I can't fly. I don't have a Batmobile. And I don't send thumb drives from a third country to America. I didn't do Batman stuff. I am Fazio, the construction guy. I didn't. And why am I getting blamed for stuff that you did? You did it. I didn't do any of that stuff. You made the video that Batman sent out. You made the video. Batman took the video and sent it out. I had nothing to do with what Batman did. Nothing at all. I did not send the videos to the locals. I did not know about it until after he did it. But I got blamed for it because he did tell me that he was going to do it. Well, how can I stop a commenter in a spam comment in my YouTube video that went to spam, and then I saw it, and it was almost 2 months old. It had already happened, and then I'm getting blamed for what Batman did? Don't blame me for what Batman did. I got a shirt that says, be yourself, always be yourself. But if you can't be yourself, be Batman. And Batman sent me that shirt. But I am not Batman. So stop blaming me for what Batman did. Batman took a person's videos and sent that person's videos out. to the locals. I didn't do it. The postage on the envelopes will prove I didn't do it. The postage on the envelopes will prove that if it came from the Philippines, then you have to sign to send it from the Philippines. You want to send a letter in the Philippines, you have to sign your name and give them identification. So I didn't do it. Batman did it. Blame Batman. Go to war with Batman. Stop mentioning my name for what Batman did. And Batman only took your videos and sent them out. He didn't make up any stories. He didn't edit anything. He didn't dub anything in or out. But I got blamed for it last week. And then today, I don't want to sound like Fazio complaining about the carpenters. There are no people in the Philippines that are contractors. One guy I met, the one 2 weeks ago, and 2 years ago, I met another guy that's a licensed contractor. And they both wanted ridiculous agreements. Time and materials. Time and materials. Time and materials to a Philippines man means let's build the wall. Let's build the wall. And then we won't put the pipes through the wall for the pool. And then later we'll stucco it and we'll paint it. And then we'll punch the holes through with a star drill and a chisel and a hammer. We'll take 6 days to put 6 pipes in the wall. You think I'm going to hire somebody like that? No, I'm going to stand there and I'm going to put a 3-inch pipe in the wall where the pipe goes. You think I'm going to hire somebody that builds a wall where there's supposed to be an air conditioner cut out and not put the air conditioner cutout in there, and then they do the whole wall, and then they go through it with a hammer and chisel that takes 2 or 3 more days? You think I'm going to do that? You people are nuts. I've been a licensed contractor for 38 years. Not any 10 people in the Philippines have my construction knowledge. Doesn't matter. One person maybe one person is as good of a plumber as I am. Maybe. Probably not. Don't forget, I'm an A&P jet mechanic. That's 4 years and now $150,000 of school to get an A&P mechanic license. I got that. Not only do you learn how to do plumbing and electric and wiring and soldering and sweating and hydraulics and skin dope and fabric and sheet metal and riveting and how to tear motors apart and how to put motors back. Not only do you learn all of that, but you learn why. And each step of the way you're tested for 4 years. None of you people can say that. Geez, would they? Oh, let's talk about the garage door job. Okay, so I watched this happen. I watched it happen. There was a fella. I don't remember what island he was working on. It's hard for me to describe this. Okay, so you're gonna drive your car into the house. You have a 13-foot opening. You need 9 feet for your garage door. Now, you want to have a door that opens and closes on hinges, a regular walk-through door. Okay, so when you drive your car into the garage, you want the garage door, the 9-foot door, to be on the right side because you're going to open up the driver's door. You need 42 inches to open up the door. And then you're going to get out, close the door, and then you're going to walk into the house. The big garage door, we had a brain fart there. The internet went off. The big garage door should be on the right side. So I'm watching this job take place. And I know the garage door is on the left side. The garage door to lead to the house is on the left side of a 13-foot wide garage. I know it's there because I see it. And I'm watching them build the frame for the garage door. And they put the frame for the garage door on the left side, and they put the door that opens on the right side. So if the man pulls into the garage, on the driver's side, he can't open the door because he's right up against the wall. Now, if he backs into the garage, he can open the door, but he's on the wrong side of the car to get to the house. Well, not my job to tell the guy how to do the job. For all I know, they're going to put another door on the other side of the house, on the other side of the garage. But I know where the door was. It's not. It's not. It's the truth. I could go through the video that the fella made about it. Then he made a video about it. And he went over the job with the men. Apparently, he had gone over the job with the men. He had a whole series of videos. So, and it was all live streamed. So maybe, for all I know, they're going to put another door on the right side, and then the car will back in. And I mean, Batman is always facing out. He could be facing out too. But so when they pull the car in the garage, they can't open the door. They have to slide over to the driver's seat, get out, and then crawl over the car. The door. No one else would think about that. Only somebody that has construction knowledge. Yeah, DNC. So, what happened? He came home. It's all live streamed. He had the camera going all day. He comes home, he looks at the door, and he starts talking to the men in the background, and they're going like this, like this. Well, then they took it apart and they moved everything over. But the men here, the plan shows you the garage door on the right side so you could open up the driver's door or the back passenger door. But these people don't get that far. It's not complicated. You people think you're going to come to the Philippines and hire people that have common sense. That's another thing altogether. Mike Dowdy, good morning, Mike. Going through my own construction issues. Never believe them when they say they can read blueprints. No, few people can read blueprints. And when it comes to actually building from blueprints, concrete work, do you know, I can't make the videos public, but I have videos of rebar jobs. I can't make them public. I have many hours of videos where every bar on the entire, on one particular entire floor and then the one above, on 2 floors, every beam box, every bar was burnt. Every bar was burnt. Every bar. On the bottom of the beam box and on one side. Because they built a 12-inch beam box. 12 by 12. So this is all beyond you, so I'm getting into technical stuff, but for the few people that can follow me. They built a 12 by 12 beam box, and they were using number 6 bar. That's 3/4 of an inch, 6/10 of an inch, just almost 3/4. 5/8. Number 5 bar is 5/8. Number 4 bar is 1/2 inch. Number 6 bar is 3/4 inch. So when you do concrete work, if you have, we're going to make it simple for you because no one's going to use 1 bar. No one's going to use 8 bar, but 8 bar is 1 inch. 8 bar means 8/8 or 8/10 of an inch, but it's 1 inch. 8 bar. Okay? So 8/8 of 8. Yeah, we're going to get into that too. 8/8 of an, so 1 bar is 1/8, 2 bar is 1/4 inch, 3 bars 3/8, 8 bar is 1 inch. So if you have 8 bar and the bar is 1 inch thick, you have to leave 3 inches of concrete to the outside of the bar. If it's a 1/2 inch bar, then you have to leave 1.5 inches outside the bar. That's so what the bar don't burn. Okay. They built a 12-inch beambox and they put a 10-inch cage in a 12-inch beambox. And then they didn't put saddles under the cage. So, and the cage was just set down into the beambox. It was built and they built the beambox around it. So on one side of the beambox, every bar touched the wooden plywood form. And the bottom, every hoop, on the one side every hoop, and on the bottom every hoop, every one. So if there were 200 hoops across the bottom of the building, because they poured all the beams in one shot, there were 200 hoops that touched the plywood. And when they took the forms off, there were 200 rusted bars, 10 inches long, and 200 on the side. The law says it has to be 3 times the diameter of the bar, minimum concrete around the bar. Now, how did they get away with it? They paid off the inspector. Do I have video proof of that? I absolutely do. I videotaped the whole job. So theoretically, if an inspector... So now they had to polish the rebar with a wire brush and then paint it with red oxide paint and then paint it with oil-based paint and then stucco over that whole mess. And now every couple of months you see a blowout. The bar burns, the concrete burns through the red oxide, and then they repair it. This is going on years now. If that happened in America, they would just make you take those beam boxes out and start again. It's not complicated. You have to do another job. Now, I've watched people bend 8 bar. 8 bar is 1 inch thick with a torch, which is what DNC said. The inspector came and watched the men burn the footing L's, the L's that go down into the footing cage. Concrete cancer, that's right. Hey, thanks for stopping by, Spiritual Prepper. I saw a few comments that you made. Thank you for the comments. So they used a torch. No, yes, Mike. I'll do that one in a minute. Thanks for reminding me about that. I forgot all about that. So they heated up the 1 bar, the 8 bar, red hot, and then they put a pipe on it, and then one guy can swing it to a 90 degree. But they also lost 90% of the strength out of the bar. And they built a 4-story building on top of that. Totally against the law. Totally wrong. You have no structural strength. That's when structural strength comes in handy, when you have an earthquake or a tremor. Now, Mike Dowdy said roughing in electric and plumbing. No, they build a wall. And then they stucco the wall. And they plaster over the stucco. They're 3 coats. And then they take a hammer and chisel and they run a chase up and down the wall or sideways across the wall. They don't know what they're doing in advance of what that needs to be done. Or they know exactly what they're doing, and they're going to take those extra 3 days to make a chase with a hammer and chisel, and then re-stucco it, replaster it, and then repaint it. When I built homes for Ed, what was his last name? I built concrete houses in the Florida Keys in 95, 96, and 97. I worked for this guy for 3 years, but I worked with a guy named Bill. We would rough in an entire house. We would form it up, first floor. Every electrical box, every conduit, every wire, every single plumbing. We would put plumbing in the walls. We put instead of putting copper pipe in concrete, we wrapped it with it would look like a garden hose but blue. It was like a blue rubber, and that's how you put copper through concrete. Because if you put copper in concrete, the acidity of the concrete rusts out, oxidizes the copper pipe. It destroys the copper in about 20 years. So we would build an entire house and never have to chip out a wall. This guy Bill was very, very good. Very good. Hello, Ace Ventura. I don't know you, but no negative stuff on my channel, please. Thanks for stopping by. The people here have no concept of that. They build a wall and then they chisel. I can show you. Well, I'm not gonna. Well, I could. I think I could show it to you. Yeah, I could do that. I can do that. I can show you a chase from the ground floor to the 4th floor. And I'll tell you why. First, I'll tell you why they had to do it. They built the Stanley House. And they had plans for a 4-story, thank you, Ace Ventura, Ventura or Venture, thank you, Ventura. They had plans for a 2-story hotel. But they were going to make it 4 stories. So they have to bring power up to the 3rd and 4th floor. When I lived there, I lived in the 2nd floor. And they needed 4-aught cable, 4-aught, but they didn't have 4-aught. So they had to run 4-aught. Now, instead of going through the floor and then having a pipe exposed inside the room on the ground floor and the 2nd floor, they chiseled the outside of the building. 2 weeks, 2 men hanging on ropes from the top of the building and 26-foot ladders from the bottom of the building, and with a quarter inch cold chisel and a hammer. 2 weeks to chisel out a 10-inch wide. They kept grinding and chiseling it out. 2 weeks. Because I don't know why. They could have ran it on the outside of the building on a pipe. I have no idea why. Inside the house, they had to dado out 26 feet by 3 inches by 3 inches because they don't want to see the pipe on the wall. If they were there for a month, 2 laborers were there for a month just chiseling stuff out because they didn't plan to put the pipe in the wall from the get-go. It's just amazing. What Mike Dowdy said is they just build the wall, they stucco the wall, they paint the wall, and then they dado out the wall. And the box is the same thing. You have to understand the people in the Philippines that you're going to hire, there's a 97% chance that they don't know what they're doing. But they'll get the job done. But it'll take months. You had 2 men for a month chiseling out just one dado when all they had to do was plan in the early stages of building the house to put a 2-inch pipe in the concrete wall, right in the middle of the block, down to the 1st floor. Just put the pipe in that section, run blocks vertical over one another. They don't plan. So if you're not sitting on top of them, then they're not going to get the job done. And anybody who thinks that they can just say, can you do that? And they say, yeah, then you have the situation that would happen on Medallion Island. Guy doesn't know how to do the work. He knows what he wants at the end of the day, and he's not getting that. Because the men that he hires, this morning I heard him ripping the guys apart because everything wasn't level. What are you talking about, not level? What's not level? What's not level? Jim Alva, planning is a foreign concept. What? He was right. You fill it in with mud to make it level and true and level. Yeah, he was right about that. But he doesn't know that. I mean, he doesn't know how to do the work, so he lets the guys go ahead. Now he's got a job where he's talking about the men taking the tile apart again. Because he doesn't know how to do the work. Or he's not sitting there being meticulous over the men. You got to sit there. You can't spend all day blogging about Barry and Big Kevin. You can't spend all day criticizing Fazio for something that Batman did. You can't spend all day threatening people with baseball bats and expect to get the work done. You can't do that. You got to stay on top of the men that you hire. You got to stay with the men that you hire. You can't be blogging blah, blah, blah on YouTube all day. You haven't seen me in close to 2 months. I've done more stuff in the last 2 months than any 10 of you could do. And you're never going to see the videos. Only a few close friends. And then there's stuff that they don't see either that I made videos about. And there's people here that are visiting me for various reasons that you will never see. Maybe, maybe not. But you people don't get it. You want to spend all day on YouTube talking about Barry Jordan. Barry Jordan. 300, Barry Jordan, number 312 video. He's going to get his. I'm not going to talk about Barry anymore. I'm never going to talk about him. 300 plus videos in the last 2 years regurgitating the same stuff. And you want to know why the work in your house doesn't get done? Probably it's because you're not supervising it. You want to know what I'm doing in my personal life? No. Not anybody's business what my personal life is. What I put on YouTube is fine. Pass it around. Make up all the comments you want. You got people saying, Fazio doesn't know how to do this. Fazio, but why don't you wager me that I don't know how to do plumbing? I'll show you plumbing jobs. I'll sit there with you and I'll do a plumbing job with you people. I would wager that 9 out of 10 of you, if I sat you down right here, right now, at this very minute, could transport you here right now, 9 out of 10 of you couldn't put 2 pieces of PVC pipe together properly. I would wager you big money. You think it's just put glue on it and go to town. Okay, Michael. Yeah, I'm gonna get going. I got people that are waking up, and we're gonna go have breakfast. I want to take a bath, and then we're gonna have breakfast. So we're gonna end this live stream right now. You want to know how to hire people? Interview them. If you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know how to do the job, find out if they ever did a job for somebody else and interview the people that they worked for. Go look at the work. Isn't it faster to go walk down the block on a small island and look at the job they just did than to have them come into your house, throw tile all over your house, walk on top of the tile, scruff up your brand new tile, make dust all over your beautiful house, and you do have a beautiful house, and then cry about it because you weren't paying attention? Dude, if you don't know what you're doing, then ask somebody that knows what they're doing. No, don't ask me. Ask somebody that knows what they're doing, because Fazio doesn't know how to do this. Fazio doesn't know how to do that. Oh, no. If you saw some of the work I did, you would cry. None of you people, all of you people put together, all of you composed in one another in a concert don't have 1/10 the construction knowledge I have. I don't care who you are, unless, of course, you're a licensed contractor for your entire life and you built it from the ground up. Then I would say yes. But all of you YouTube, blah, 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 all of you YouTube creatures, none of you can do what I do. Remember that. Thanks for watching. And God day to everybody. From Michael Fazio in the Philippines, baby. Bye-bye for now. And of course, Samping Permi means take care always. Learn how to do interviews. Learn how to ask questions. Learn how to find out previous job history. And stop complaining and threatening not to pay the men that worked for you because the job didn't come out the way you wanted it. You have to pay the men. Good job, bad job, no job. If they show up, you have to pay it. That's your fault that they didn't do the job properly, not theirs. That's the truth. Bye-bye for now.